What's up, guys? We're back. I'm George Mossey. This is my co-host, Heather C. So I Love a Mama's Boy. We're on season 3, episode 3, part 2 of the podcast recap. So I want to talk about this meeting between Kelly and Brittany, which I kind of want to call it a interrogation because it was more so an interrogation. Kelly actually had her questions typed up and ready to go. And I like the idea that she was prepared and she wanted to get to know her, but she didn't want to really get to know her organically. She wanted to get to know her by asking extremely uncomfortable questions, rapid fire, and kind of trying to scare her away. And even Matt said that it was a bit much, and he's been dealing with his mom his whole life. So we know that this was very difficult for Brittany to get through, but I really was impressed with how well Brittany held her ground in the situation, especially with the question of the prenup, where she's like, oh, would you sign a prenup? And she fired back with the question, did you sign a prenup? And she said, well, no. She's like, well, I would never plan to divorce. And she said, I feel like a prenup is planning to divorce. So what do you think of Brittany? I actually like her. I think Brittany might actually be the one that can get Matt out of that house behind his mother's house. Do you think that?
I like her too. I think that going into this relationship, you're not just dating Matt, but you're also dating Kelly. And I don't know if she saw any of the previous shows or anything, but they are definitely a package deal and they're definitely a lot to take in. And I think that she kind of gave her a dose of her own medicine going back, which she didn't care for because she said she was being lippy. But it's like, if you look at it this way, okay, yeah, she was being kind of snarky with answering, but you were also being out of pocket asking her those questions. You know what I mean? Like asking somebody, like, if I Google you, will I find your nudes? Like, that's crazy. Like, I just think that these mothers, they don't ever want their son to find happiness unless it's with them. And I don't know, I think that she might actually last for the long haul if she can get through her interrogation. I think there might be hope for her yet.
I agree. She didn't delete Matt's number out of her phone after this date. So I feel like there's hope in the future. And that's what anyone should want for their son, right? They should want him to be happy. She already has him living 15 feet away. So can he also be happy and have someone that he loves there as well? I question it. I question it a little bit. I'm not 100% sure that that's exactly what she wants for Matt. But I think at this point, Matt is speaking up a little more, and he's been telling his mom, I really like her. I think that this has potential. And at the massage date, he was very honest about it. He said, I think that this can go somewhere and I don't want you to scare her away. So I do applaud him for at least standing up for himself and making sure that she doesn't ruin this situation for him before it even happens. Because she asked her how many kids she wanted. They've literally just started dating, like she's definitely trying to scare her away.
That was a good question, though, because if you notice, a lot of these relationships end up going south because no one asked that question. They find out after dating for years, for months, that this person doesn't even want kids and the other person wants a whole family load. So even though they had just met, that's actually a decent question, but that should have been asked by Matt, not Kelly. Because if he wants kids and she doesn't, or vice versa, they might be able to terminate something before it ends up being something long term and feelings get involved. So I'm not opposed to that question, but the wrong person asked it.
All right, so I want to slide over to Columbus, Ohio, and I want to talk about Esther and Ethan. So we have finally met Esther and Ethan, and they have a normal mother-son relationship, but with a twist. He refers to her as a MILF and sexy and hot. And during a dance, for his first dance, he smacked his mom's behind. And even the dance instructor said, well, this is weird, and I have to bring up the song that they're dancing to. Sexual Healing is the song that he chose to first dance with his mom with. And the weirdest thing of all, his mom actually loves Lana, his fiance who he's marrying, they do not have an issue with each other. They get along well outside of the fact that she wants all of his time. So this situation is a bit different because usually the mother wants nothing to do with the woman in her son's life, but she doesn't really have an issue with her per se, but she's more so planning the wedding, taking over everything about the wedding, but she's not interested in stopping it from happening.
Okay, so I have a problem with this mother-son relationship. I don't hate the fact that they're close. And I don't hate the fact that they're jokesters and they like to have, fun together. I hate the fact that they're trying to make incest funny. That's what I have a problem with. There's no way in the world you should ever sexualize your parents. There's nothing wrong with saying my mom is beautiful. There's nothing wrong with saying my dad is a good-looking guy. Obviously, if you yourself think that you're good looking, your parents had involvement in that. So I know when I was a little girl, I used to look at pictures of my mom and be like, oh my God, my mom's so pretty. And, my dad, he's such a good looking guy or whatever. I never once thought that that was weird because I never would imagine going up to my dad and smacking him on the behind or grinding up on him. Even joking, that is so just beyond for me. It takes a lot. It takes a lot to get to me and to make me feel some type of way. And the fact, like, you could joke like once or twice, but if you're continuing it, that's not only embarrassing, but that's degrading, disgusting. He's not like, and the fiance is going along with it too. Like, why? Listen to what you said. I'm jealous. Who did you just say you're jealous of? His mother? Come on. Why the heck are you dancing to Sexual Healing with your mother at your wedding? Like, I have a problem with this. I do. And it's not even them directly. I don't know them. I don't feel some type of way, but I have a problem, like I said, with sexualizing your parents, even in a joking manner. That's just wrong. That's your mother who birthed you. Show her respect. Because saying you look sexy and you're a MILF and I want to smack your butt is not being respectful to the person who brought you in this world.
I kind of feel like they capitalize on making other people uncomfortable. Did you catch that? Like, especially at the dance studio, they kind of enjoyed making the dance instructors uncomfortable. And I kind of feel like it's more of like an ongoing joke between the two of them. They're like, well, let's make it even more weird for people so they don't understand.
People do that. That's the problem I have. We see news stories all the time where people are sexualizing children. Teachers are having sex with kids. Like, you don't know what, in all honesty, is a joke and what isn't. And the fact that you're going to go on national TV where the people that you work with, the rest of your family, like, how do you even let somebody in on that joke? Like, hey, when you watch me on TV, just know I'm going to call my mom hot and make sexual references to her. Like, I can't fathom nor excuse that. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to his fiance. She should literally be like, dude, what the hell is going on? Like, there's nothing wrong with thinking your mom is beautiful and she's a queen, because she is, but you should not. And he says, like, oh, I don't think sexual of her. Having her grind on you to Sexual Healing is sexual. Like, I cannot with you. I cannot. This show is so crazy.
Yeah, this one is really like extreme. And Lena is, I applaud her for being in this situation, because it's, especially with her being from New York, you know, and a lot of people from New York, they don't put up with nonsense. So for her, it has to be love, you know, for her to stay in this situation and kind of feel like the third wheel between him and his mom. So I applaud her for sticking with someone that she really loves, because this is a hard situation to be in, because you can never really compete with someone's mom. They're always going to be number one, but the way that he makes her number one almost makes Lena feel second best. And I guess that's where it becomes a problem.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to see more of them. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna be judgmental, and I'm not gonna eat them alive just yet. That was just my first impression. I'm allowed to have the first impression. So I would just like to say to them, if you see this, please prove me wrong. Please prove me wrong that this is all fun and games and it's not really weird, because my first impression was it was very strong. Like, and I know, I'm sorry. I had to go there though.
All right, guys, that's it for part 2. This is the I Love a Mama's Boy podcast recap, season 3, episode 3. I'm George Mossey. This is my co-host, Heather C. Make sure you're live tweeting with us for the show every Sunday night, and we'll talk to you all really soon.
Bye.